See, they're looking for fastball. They get it. They just never seen it this quick.
1-2 coming. He struck him out. 9 in a row for Jacob deGrom.
Pitching Ninja. Pitching Ninja. We got sliders and fastballs and curveballs too. When you step in the box, man, you're gonna be through.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the awesome Pitching Ninja show. I am Pitching Ninja, and as always, my buddy, my producer, Will Leahy. What's up, Will?
Ninja, lot going on. Yankees are hot garbage. The Dodgers and Padres series just full-blown rocked my jock off, and you got to be pretty psyched. There are currently, I think, 6 starting pitchers with all 3 starts and 19 or 20 innings each that have a sub-1 ERA, and there has been a second no-hitter already in 2 weeks into baseball.
Yeah, it's rough being a hitter. Sorry. But yeah, fantastic no-hitter by Carlos Rodon coming back from injury. What a great story. Could have had a perfect game if it wasn't for Roberto Perez getting his little toe in the way of a beautifully thrown slider. But still, we'll take the no-hitter. It was also great to see one of the things that I said I was most looking forward to this season, the Dodgers-Padres rivalry kickoff. And boy, what a start to this rivalry it was. Great baseball games, tons of emotion, a crappy catcher's interference that even got Clayton Kershaw dropping 4-letter words. Trevor Bauer with his pounding his chest K-strut. Blake Snell talking trash after the game. Players like Tatis and Machado. I mean, Tatis playing with emotion.
It's awesome, too, that Tatis came back a lot earlier than I think a lot of people expected, and it seems like he thinks the best cure to fixing his shoulder is just swinging even harder than he was before.
Yeah, I love this. I also love the fact that, so Machado owns Bauer, and then you had Bauer throw Machado a slider that bounced, I don't know, like 4 feet from the plate.
It's extremely awesome to see how great this series kicked off. It really does kind of feel like early 2000 Yankees Red Sox. The teams actually dislike each other, which is just tremendous to see. Very hateful, and they're both really good with absolute stars. So I think this is easily the thing to most be excited about if you're a baseball fan.
I totally agree. I mean, baseball needs stuff like this, getting into bench clearing brawls occasionally, talking trash. That's part of the sport. We're not all about robots. This is fun. Fans come to see that. They come to hate Trevor Bauer. That's perfectly okay. This is rivalries. This is why we watch the sport. These players care. And if the players care, the fans are going to care. It is fun.
And now, Pitching Ninja's Top 10 Filthiest Pitchers of the Week.
At number 10, a tie between Emmanuel Clase's 100-mile-an-hour cutter and Devin Williams' airbenders. They're number 10 only because, like, when these guys are on, their pitch is just a unicorn type pitch that will always, that probably could be number 1 any given week. So I hold these guys to a really, really high standard. Number 9, Marquise Grissom Jr. for Georgia Tech with these ridiculous breaking balls he threw. Number 8, Ryan Thompson's slider to Charlie Culberson. That pitch flew like a UFO. Number 7, Shane Bieber's knuckle curve and just overall dominance. It was hard to single out a pitch from this game, but Bieber had 13 Ks. One reason why it was hard to single out a pitch is because the Cincinnati Reds camera angle absolutely sucks. So the knuckle curves that Bieber was throwing, absolutely filthy, untouchable stuff. They kind of look blah.
Untouchable and unfilmable if you're part of the Red staff.
Number 6, La Tortuga with an incredible 46-mile-an-hour slow ball. I think we need a name for that slow ball. Could we call it a huevo or something? La Tortuga's huevo? I took 8 years of Spanish, and I had to look up what the word for egg was in Spanish.
I'd say that's muy embarazado. However, I think embarazado means pregnant, so.
Number 5, Yu Darvish with this wicked two-seamer, starting out at Muncy's hip and ending up over the middle of the plate. Darvish is getting some sick movement on his two-seamers. I think he made a little bit of an adjustment to get some more horizontal movement, but that pitch is flat out nasty. Number 4, Corbin Burns' backdoor 98-mile-an-hour cutter. This pitch is a museum quality pitch. It starts off just off the plate. A typical fastball would run away, and this comes back to catch the plate. Absolutely disgusting and beautiful at the same time. Number 3, Tyler Rogers. Ridiculous rising sliders and fastballs and everything. Like, that arm slot is unfair. I know I've gotten a lot of softball players saying we deal with rise balls all the time, and you do. And now guys have to deal with it too, because a rising slider should not be a thing. Number 2, everything Jacob deGrom does. 101 mile an hour fastballs, 93 mile an hour sliders, impeccable command, incredible intensity on the bump, and then with 14 Ks in 6 innings, he just, like, I don't know how I don't have him at number 1, but the reason I don't is because of Blake Trinan and his 96 mile an hour turbo sinker. This pitch just should not be allowed. He should have the glove signed every time he does it. And this is one reason why I gave him the nickname The Witch, is he does stuff that no one has ever seen. He hated the nickname The Witch, but I mean, if the shoe fits. But this pitch, absolutely nasty and unhittable.
Ninja, here's the part of the show where reluctantly we give some props to the hitters and their dongs. First, I'd like to mention Shohei Ohtani with it was only a double, but it was 119 miles an hour. This was the hardest hit ball of, I think, the last 2 years, or it was, in the top 1 percentile.
Shohei, see, I like when the longest dong section includes pitchers.
Before we get into the long dong of the week, I'd like to recognize the shortest dong of the week, and that actually goes to YouTube user Shark of Joy for just being an absolute wet blanket and saying that it was very unclever and unfunny to recognize the longest dongs of the week. So congratulations, you have the shortest dong of the week. Which brings us to the long dong of the week, and I'm going to give this to Kyle Schwarber. I was actually watching this game live on Friday night, Nice Life, and bottom of the ninth, 0-0, Schwarber hits a 465-foot dong to walk it off.
There it goes! Game winner! See you later!
So Ninja, what do you think about the Mets pitching staff right now?
I love the Mets pitching staff. I mean, I've said that preseason. Marcus Stroman is pitching like Marcus Stroman can. I think adding his split change has been huge. His cutter's been really, really good. He made an absolutely ridiculous behind the back play, bounce pass to Alonso. He's already at the forefront of my Gold Glove guys. And then you have DeGrom. So the way I view pitching right now is you have a bunch of really good pitchers, and then you have a guy that really is kind of in a league of his own, and that's Jacob deGrom. And there is a good gap between him and anybody else, and I think everybody knows it.
So do you have any insight as to how deGrom turned into this absolute machine he's coming to? I mean, if he stays on pace this year for what he's been doing already, he's going to have one of the greatest 4-year stretches ever. What has he done to bring himself to this level?
One of the things he's done is he had relatively low mileage on his arm, so he has come to pitching relatively late in his career. So you're seeing him learn more and more about his body. He's actually fine-tuned his mechanics to bump it a couple miles an hour, which is, most pitchers don't. Most pitchers go on a steady decline. He's actually gone on a steady incline as he understands his body more. He's got incredible mobility. He moves really well, athleticism-wise and mobility-wise. Is kind of in a class by himself, as you see by the results.
So Ninja, where would you put this 4-year stretch compared to some of the other great ones we've had over the last 30, 40, 50 years?
I mean, I would put deGrom up there with the pantheon of great stretches. Talking like guys like Sandy Koufax and Pedro Martinez, Randy Johnson, and Greg Maddux. I mean, that is the type of stretch that we're seeing now. It's kind of legendary greatness. And this is going to be remembered as one of the great stretches of all time.
Yeah, both Johnson and Maddux had 4 consecutive Cy Youngs, right?
Yeah, and Pedro won 3 of 4 Cy Youngs. And one of those years, he beat his nearest competitor by nearly 2 full runs in ERA, Roger Clemens, who is also a legendary great pitcher with 7 Cy Youngs.
Yeah, 7 Cy Youngs is something outrageous. It
is outrageous. Like, we're just saying it like you're just throwing it out there. That's crazy.
Something I just noticed, Ninja, I was watching your YouTube video of did Nolan Ryan really throw 108 miles an hour, which, no spoilers here, you'll have to watch for yourself. But I did my research. I didn't realize Nolan Ryan had never won a Cy Young. Even 7 no-hitters, one of the all-time greats, no Cy Youngs. Surprised me.
Yeah, you know, back in the day, wins were a big deal, and he pitched for a lot of teams, and a lot of pitchers criticized him. Like you go back and you'll hear announcers criticize Nolan Ryan saying, yeah, he's got all this great stuff, but he's really not that dominant because his teams don't win. But now you have Jacob deGrom, who is that dominant, and his teams don't really give him a lot of run support either, and he has a hard time getting wins. But yet we realize the dominance we're seeing now. In the college game this week, there were some awesome rivalry games. One of the fun things about college baseball is the amount of emotion going into these games and about having fans back watching. The Tennessee Vandy game was insane. And then you have Kumar talking to himself, talking to hitters, talking to fans, yelling out, like, I am here. I'm effing here. Doesn't necessarily always pitch with a lot of emotion, but when he does, watch out. You also had a ridiculous K-strut. You had a pitcher do a backflip after getting an out, which that's going to be tough to beat. I mean, the athleticism to do a backflip. I know Glasnow could do it, and I asked him about trying to do a backflip after a K, but he didn't really want to do it because if you miss it, then all of a sudden the story is on the missed backflip.
If you get hurt doing a backflip after a K and you fail, you might look like the biggest D-bag of all time, but high risk, high reward, I think it's worth it.
Yeah, exactly. So you do it, you get featured on the show. You don't do it, you get featured on the show for the wrong reason. Well, that's all for this week. Thanks for stopping by. Remember, please hit that subscribe button because you are not going to want to miss each episode of the Pitching Ninja Show. I'm going to K-strut on out of here. And until next time, keep throwing flames.